Alright, so I got this over here. I gotta pull all the spark plugs, take the headers off so I can actually drill and tap those cracks in there, weld them up, and I'm gonna look inside and make sure nothing else is messed up or anything like that. So hopefully it's not. I don't feel like pulling the heads off just yet, but depending on what I can see with the borescope, I'm gonna pull some spark plugs and check inside and see if there's any cracks on the inside of the cylinder wall. So I'll get to doing that. So you're gonna watch me tear this down a little bit more and see what we gotta do. So I got everything cleaned up, all this is off. Right now I've just been agitating all the dirt. I'm gonna clean this with some degreaser and spray it down one more time just to get everything nice and clean again and kind of see what I was working at. Got down some of the rust around these areas. Probably gonna paint them. Hopefully I can, but I want to get in all the nooks and crannies like that and get all those nice and cleaned up so it actually looks somewhat decent again and kind of newish. But ain't got much hope, but it will look better and freshened up. So I gotta close off these ends with the fuel, make sure nothing gets in there. That should be fine. All this is fine. I just gotta make sure that doesn't get any water in it because that would suck. Don't want water inside the fuel. I gotta cover up the oil right down there so nothing gets in there. So all the fun stuff. So this should be a fun little treat. Also gotta cover the transmission hole so no water gets in there. Just try to keep water out of the areas it doesn't need to be. Alright, so I've done a few things. Got the engine back in, all that good stuff. Didn't film that. That's a fucking struggle to try to do. Trying to get underneath there, hook up the drivetrain, all that stuff. Kind of sucks. Probably would have been a terrible video of me just moaning and groaning trying to get this thing in. But got it in. It's mounted. It's cleaner. Basically sprayed it down, degreased it. Put all the wires back in, blew out all the ports, let it dry out so I can actually hook up everything. I also installed my shifter. There was another video that I didn't think y'all would want to watch. Had to make some modifications. There was a spring here, but I took that spring out because it was too wobbly. So I ended up putting a bolt behind that there to hold this and sandwich this together. There's plastic washers, I guess, to help the friction, and then I put a bolt on the other side just to keep it nice and sturdy, and it works. So that's nice. It's still reverse. I gotta figure out how to make it not be reversed. So right now it's in park when it's pulled up, and that's in drive. But you know, honestly, that's a small thing that I really don't mind because no one else is going to be driving it. I don't care about the parking situation. Today, what I'm going to try to do, tripping over the dang hood. So I literally just did this like 2 seconds ago and hooked up the oil line. I got to cut that bolt so it actually mounts to the actual block instead of just kind of sitting kind of wobbly. But that's the oil dipstick they got hooked up. So I'm gonna start hooking up all the wires, get everything ready. Still gotta figure out to get rid of this tube because now I have the AM lines running for both the return and the send. I gotta move this again because I got rid of the fuse block over here because I got a new fuse block right here with built-in relays and fuses that I'm gonna mount inside. This is a little bit better than what I had. A lot more better because it's not a jumbled mess. It comes out of one line, so I like that. So I get 6 not 6, yeah, I get 6 fuse relays out of here, so that's going to be nice. The other one I had a whole bunch of just regular random relays attached and everything. You can actually see it right here, but I had it on the outside. Could have saw it in a different video, but I had this whole little setup. It just it was a lot on that side, so, but it was right there. Lines ran through there, all the lines. I had to re-gel another hole, so I can move this back over here and use the other line that I had previously and just kind of get that a little bit better mounted than the 1 bolt that I have behind it. I don't know if you see that. Yep. So I can actually put the bracket back on that I had for it and actually secure that a little bit better. But right now I'm also trying to go through and Teflon tape all the individual joiner pieces for the fuel system, make sure everything's Teflon tape and won't leak. But for right now, I'm gonna get the new harness up and attached, so y'all will see me do that. And yeah, let's get to that. So this right here is a standalone harness. It also comes with its own fuse block, so I can get rid of the OEM fuse block that I had. Made a whole mounting bracket and everything in the previous video, and now it's going away for something that's a lot smaller and a little bit more compact. This has everything. It's nice and shielded, not like the other one. The other one I pulled off a truck. I didn't want to mess with the dash because that stuff is fucking horrendous, so I didn't want to deal with the dash trying to get the OBD2 port out of it, so I just cut all the wires and didn't have the OBD2 port. But this has everything. It's all nice and linked up. I also got new brackets for the ECU, so I can actually mount the ECU so it's not just dangling around like it used to be. So that's going to be nice. I got to clean out all this garbage because we've been storing a bag of clothes in here. But yep, so I'm going to get this mounted and see how everything kind of plays out and where it lays out, and we'll see. So I got it fed through. There was a couple complications. Some of these things were, I had to feed this through first before feeding anything else through, because this wouldn't fit through the hole. I guess I did cut a perfect size hole for that. I didn't think it was gonna work. It looked a lot smaller, but I guess it did work, because now I have a nice little grommet keeping all this nice and in here and don't have to worry about it. So that's nice. All right, so now I'm gonna go through and try to hook everything up. So I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but I have these, like those right there, and it has these little, I guess, adapter pieces, but neither of these actually fit on there. They do not look anything like the OEM ones, so that is no bueno. So I might have to actually cut each one of those off and build my own, which kind of sucks, but you know, another thing I got to do. So I guess I'm gonna start doing that then, because I got all these little adapter pieces and right here, so I can just plug them in and splice them. Kind of sucks that I have to do that. Got these, which are little solder connections, so it actually solders and weather seals everything. So that should be nice. So it just goes on there, you heat it up, it shrinks and solders the wire. So I'm gonna have to do that with all of these. It's gonna probably take up the rest of my day here, so that's gonna suck, but it'll be okay. So basically what I did was figure out where I wanted to put the ECU, so I drilled some holes, tapped them through, and put the bolts on those, and I'll adjust the length of the bolts so they're a little bit closer to the edge and get some washers on them. But I wanted to do that so that way I can figure out where I want to put that fuse box and the other fuse box that I have as well. I don't know where I put that, but there's another fuse box that I have with all of the, here it is, that, so I can figure out where I want to put that as well. Where else I can go. So there's, well, this right here is for all my gauges for later. I don't know if you guys can see that because I can't see the camera. So these are for all my other gauges. I just gotta figure out a nice way to mount this somewhere, because it has those two holes on either side, but it doesn't lay flat. Gotta somehow get it to lay flat below those. Everything's situated for that. This is short. I gotta make sure all the wires are in the right space or right place. Man, I should really redo these body mounts right here. Those things are looking rough. But for now, it'll work. That's all I need to do is work. So I also got to figure out, because those are the power. I believe on the original LS motor, how I had it before I got this bracket, the alternator was actually over here, I believe, because this probably would have ran underneath to that side and hooked up that way. But I need to figure out how to get that to the back of the alternator thing right there. I'll probably have to just cut into these wires and splice them in, figure it out. I also got to figure out where that goes to, because that might be my OBD, or not my OBD, my map sensor that I have down here. I'm not 100% sure, so I got to figure out what wires go to where, because the map sensor just works off a vacuum line, so it's not too crazy. That cat's pretty crazy. Don't you dare, kitty, stay out of there. And then I got to tidy all these up. I'm going to go inside and I'm going to wire those injectors, so I'll probably record that as well. So I'll wire the injector wires all together and get all those set up and everything in place for that. Hi Maisie, how you doing, kitty? But so I'm gonna pick up everything out here and go do that inside, because it is cold and it looks like it's about to storm. Well, not really actually. Now it looks kind of good. Nasty clouds were over there, so I might do a little bit more outside. It all depends, so we'll see.
She just wanted mushroom pepperoni.
That's perfectly fine.
Alright, I'll be back.
Okay.
Well, that's lovely. That's a scratch and dent that she just did. Wow, that sucks. Camaro has like nothing on it, but dang. A little dentage. No, not as bad as it could have been. That's nuts. So that's gonna be the end of this video. But that's one hell of a way to end the video. That's nuts. Alright, well, I guess I'll see you guys later.